ಸರ್ಫ್ ಎಕ್ಸೆಲ್ ಮ್ಯಾಟಿಕ್ ಈಗ ಹೊಸ ಪ್ಯಾಕ್ ನಲ್ಲಿ ಚೆನ್ನಾಗಿ ಆಡಿದ್ಯಾ ಚಾಂಪ್?
ಎನಿ ಡೌಟ್? ಇವತ್ತು ಹೇಗೆ ಆಡಿದೆ ನೋಡಿ, ಒಣಗಿ ಹೋದ ಕಲೆ ನೋಡಿ.
ನೋ ಡೌಟ್, ಇಂಥ ಒಣಗಿದ ಕೆಸರಿನ ಕಲೆಗಾಗಿ ಇದೆ ಹೊಸ ಸರ್ಫ್ ಎಕ್ಸೆಲ್ ಮ್ಯಾಟಿಕ್ ಎಸ್ಪಿಪಿ ಟೆಕ್ನಾಲಜಿಯೊಂದಿಗೆ. ಇದು ಹಠಮಾರಿ ಒಣ ಕಲೆಯನ್ನು ತೆಗೆಯುತ್ತೆ ಮಷೀನ್ ನಲ್ಲಿ.
ಕ್ಲೀನ್ ಆಯ್ತಾ?
ಎನಿ ಡೌಟ್? ಹೊಸ ಸರ್ಫ್ ಎಕ್ಸೆಲ್ ಮ್ಯಾಟಿಕ್.
You won't believe that having an AI boyfriend is a better option. Engage in deep conversation.
Okay, hello to everyone who's here today. I see Jane is here, Ethan is here, Alanis is here. I think 2 more are expected, but nevertheless, we will start, and whenever they come in, they will be able to join in with us. Okay, so this is the first of the workshop series that we are beginning, and basically, here we are trying to understand and bring up different topics which we wouldn't probably do otherwise in individual lessons. So I would also appreciate your feedback. But what happens is sometimes the knowledge is scattered, so we are trying to put it together. You may have learned some of it, you may have not learned some of it. So then afterwards, you will get an idea of the holistic aspect of it. Feel free to ask questions. We will have a question round at the end. So what are we learning? Importance of scales. That is pretty much the first thing that we start with. Let's see. So these, we have, it's okay if Audrey doesn't join for now, but I just mentioned her because I knew she would be there. Next, what we are doing is, why are scales important? Usually, if I have to ask you to answer me in a nutshell or in 2 sentences, what would you say, why are scales important? And we can start with Jane. What would you say, why are they important?
Well, if we have scales, we can play a lot of music and learn more songs.
Okay, right. That goes along. What else? Alanis.
Well, scales help us to warm up our fingers before we actually start playing any piece. They also help us to in our finger coordination, and
That's
so
right.
that our fingers become more flexible to play the original piece.
Absolutely correct. Yes. And Ethan, are you there? Let's hear from you. What would you say scales are important?
The scale helps. Yeah, the scale helps us to practice some songs before we play any songs. Scales are important because it helps us in the coordination of fingers.
Absolutely right. But nevertheless, at least 80% of us hate playing scales because they become too tricky at a time, or sometimes they are just too confusing. Especially, I think for everyone who's begun, the transition from 1 octave to a 2-octave scale has always been too mind-blowing, right? 1 octave is always easier to get, but when you have to switch to 2, it would have been too difficult to kind of wrap your head around it. So we're going to start with a quick video, and now you're able to see the 7 points, but it was going to be explained much nicely. So let's pick up on the points, and at the end of the video, let's try to gather and see if you're able to gather all the 7 points that she talks about why scales are important. And then we'll go into demonstration and how you can probably practice those.
Wondering why you need to practice scales on the piano? In this video, we're going to explore 7 reasons why they're such an important part of piano technique. I'll also share some tips that you can use to strengthen your fingers, improve your rhythms and fingering, and understand how music is constructed. Along the way, you might start to actually like scales, or at least appreciate how they'll improve your musicianship. Let's jump right in. One of the most powerful ways scales can help you is by teaching you to recognize key signatures. These musical templates show us exactly what notes and chords will be played in the composition. For example, if a piece is written in the key of G major, we know that every F in the piece will be sharp, and that most of the notes in the song will be from the G major scale. Every piece of music is written in a key signature, so you can imagine how powerful this knowledge is. If you understand what white notes and black notes to play in each key signature, you already know most of the notes in the piece. This will help you play fewer wrong notes as well. If you want to learn all 12 major and 12 minor keys, start by learning each scale in parallel motion for 1 octave, and separately, and then try it together. Learn 1 new key each week, and before long, you'll have them all. You can also make flashcards to quiz yourself on how well you know those key signatures. Have you ever been learning a piano piece and you got stumped about what finger to use where? Scales can help you overcome many of these fingering conundrums. Why does practicing scales help with fingering? Well, playing scales instills a deep understanding of what each key feels like in your muscle memory. Over time, your hands will remember the shapes of scales and chords in that key and where to tuck or cross your fingers. This powerful skill will help you choose natural fingerings for each piece that you're learning. This is especially valuable as you learn more advanced piano repertoire with more complex fingerings. Have you ever watched someone play the piano with their eyes closed and wondered how they could do it? There's actually a really simple reason. They have an excellent grasp of keyboard geography. This vital skill will help your fingers find the right notes without you looking at your hands. That way, whether you're reading the sheet music, looking across the room, or even playing with your eyes closed, your fingers will still know where to go. This is a great way to help you memorize music too. The main way to develop this skill is by consistent practice of scales and chords across the keyboard. With time, you should be able to close your eyes and pick out individual notes correctly. To really test yourself, you can even practice your scales with your eyes closed. If you're a beginner piano player, use the groups of 2 and 3 black notes as milestones to help you find your way across the keyboard. If you're more advanced, I would suggest practicing 4 octave scales to get you comfortable playing in the upper and lower registers of the piano. Everyone wants stronger fingers, right? Well, practicing scales every day is one of the best ways to do it. These exercises train you to use each of your fingers equally, which will especially strengthen your weaker fingers, 3, 4, and 5. Playing chords, arpeggios, and octaves will improve the stretch in your hands so you can reach larger intervals more comfortably and with greater strength. If you really want to see improvement in your playing, practice scales for 10 minutes for every hour that you practice. If you're playing for 30 minutes or less, I'd suggest practicing them for at least 5 minutes. That way, you'll be able to get a good finger workout in only a few minutes a day. Have you ever wanted to improvise or compose? Maybe you're already playing by ear, but you're frustrated with how slow and cumbersome it can be. Learning scales can change all of that. Scales teach you the key signatures, which are the foundation of all music. Once you learn the key signature, you can understand how a song is constructed, identify chords, and even transpose the piece to a different key signature. By playing scales and chords, you should be able to recognize what different notes and chords and key signatures sound like, and how it feels to play them on the piano. This will even help you learn sheet music faster too. Do you struggle with playing at a consistent volume? Scales can help you play your pieces at an even volume and with a beautiful touch. If you can play scales legato, you'll practice playing smooth and connected. Playing scales staccato or detached will challenge your finger strength and hand independence. Adding dynamics such as crescendos and diminuendos will help you gain control over how loudly or softly you can play. If you practice these techniques using scales, you'll have a lot easier time doing them in your pieces. If you want to develop a great sense of timing and rhythm, a wonderful way to start is by practicing scales along with a metronome. This technique will help you play at a constant speed and at a faster tempo. By practicing scales with different rhythmic patterns and at different speeds, you'll become skilled at playing more complex rhythms and quick, light-fingered passages. If you want to try this out, start by playing a scale slowly. Set the metronome to 60 beats per minute and play 1 note to the click like this. Now, keep the metronome at 60 BPM, but play 2 notes per click. To really challenge yourself, try playing 3 or 4 notes per click. I'll show you how to do it with 4 notes per click at 60 BPM. I hope you understand why skills are so important to great piano technique. Even if skills still aren't your thing, I hope you've gained an appreciation for how they can strengthen your fingers, improve your touch and rhythm, and give you a greater understanding of music. If you found this video helpful, make sure to leave a thumbs up and share it with.
Okay, there we go. So that was about the importance of scales. And so what points have you been able to find out? I should show this now. From the video, if you can tell me the points that she mentioned. You have to unmute yourself. Jane, I think, is trying to speak.
Oh, yes, ma'am. So when we play scales, we can improve our fingering and we can, any song we play, we won't be confused of playing what, so what note, what finger should use.
Perfect, that's right. Okay, fingering, yes, that was one of the questions, one of the answers. Anything else?
It's used to make fingers stronger and so like more
Strengthening your
flexible in
fingers.
playing.
Right, so we got 2 points out of the 7, yes. Which other?
Miss, it helps in timing, tempo, and because in some pieces the tempo goes really fast and really slow, so we can practice scales in that tempo.
Absolutely, accordingly. So 3 points we got out of 7. Very good. You all were paying very keen attention. What was the first point that she said?
Fingering, improve fingering.
That was the second point. So we got the second point, we got the fourth point, strengthening your fingers. We got, I think the rhythm and timing was the last one. Okay, so let's have a look at it. It's recognizing the key signatures. Now there are 12 keys. How many of us know how many of them? Right? 12 keys is why they say it, because it's the 12, the black and the white keys, not the major and the minor. That would kind of increase it to 24 keys and things like that. But nevertheless, so C, C sharp, D, if you count C major, C sharp major, then D sharp major, or E flat major, both will be counted as the same. Then we go to E, F, G sharp, G, F sharp, G, so on and so forth. You get 12 of them. So 12 keys. Usually, by the time we are reaching and leveling up our grades, we will be able to cover all of them. But it's good to be inquisitive and try it yourself as well. Then keyboard geography. What does keyboard geography mean? Means you have 7 octaves on a piano, 5 octaves on a keyboard. You'll be able to go past them and not feel. Sometimes when we feel that the hands are too apart, we feel that, oh, it seems difficult. But if you practice them regularly, it wouldn't feel that way. Strengthening your fingers was done. Improvise and compose. Now, if you know the notes or the scales well, if you know the key signatures well, when you're trying to compose, like you know that the piece is in the key of A major, so you know there's going to be 3 sharps in it. You won't probably miss out on a key signature because you've practiced scales and the scales help you learn the key signatures better. Sometimes maybe not by theory you won't remember, but you will play it and immediately it will hit your ear. Oh, this doesn't sound right. There has to be another note that you use for it. Even volume and improve touch. That is right. Timing and rhythm was already mentioned if we use the metronome. And about the volume, so you can play it softly, and then we use dynamics also, especially for exams. So that will help you in getting it there. Now, how do we practice is going to be the next one that we go to. So how many types of variations of scales have you tried out? Let me start with the first one. Tell me, the first one, first when you learn to play, how do you play it? We play legato, right? We
yes,
usually play. Yeah, tell me.
Yes, well, we play very soft and very slow,
That's
so
right.
that you get the notes perfect.
So now for demonstration, let me use a C major scale or G major. Which would be more comfortable? Okay, let me start with C for now. This is my C major scale, correct? I have played this 1 octave and legato. Now, if I have to do variations, what we've done for just 1 octave could be staccato. Right? And what is the next variation which most everybody has learned after legato and staccato? Swing, that's right. Is everyone able to hear me? Hear the piano? Just give me a thumbs up if you're able to hear the piano. Okay, super, super. So here goes swing. Right? And after that, we've also learned contrary motion. Right? And now from 1 octave, most of you have even done 2 octaves. So let's try a 2 octave. And the 2 octaves, same thing can be carried on with the staccato, with legato, and with swing. Now, what more variations do we do? We can do much more variations after this, mixing it up. For example, if you change the ascending and the descending, you will get more variations. So, first I would like to say, and then you can suggest what more we can do. So, we'll do a legato going ascending, and we do a staccato descending. Right? Now let's try and do, what could we do? We can do a staccato ascending and a swing descending. Alright, that works too. And then we can switch it up to, you got 3 of them, and then you can vary it among that. So these are the variations that you can do with 2 octaves. How about you increase the octaves? Now let's try 4 octaves. So if I have to do legato, seems like it takes forever to finish, but we do 4 octaves only once we are more into speed, so we can play it faster and cover more time rather than, taking it much time. Now in 4 octaves, the variations that I would like to introduce you to is adding contrary motions in between to it. Some of you all must have tried it before, but if not, this is something that you can definitely try. What I am going to do is I'm going to play 2 octaves, similar motion, and then I'm going to play contrary motion, and let's see how that sounds. Right? Fingers are running quite fast. Okay, now I'm going to do a variation and you will explain it to me what I did. Let's try that. can tell me. Anybody? Unmute.
Yes, well, you started with a similar motion, then you did a contrary motion, came back again and did a similar motion and came back like reverse, and again did a contrary motion and came back in a similar motion.
Oh, perfect. Okay, you got the sequence right. So it was similar, contrary, similar, contrary. But still, it didn't sound the same every time. Why? Because we grouped it together. There was a similar, contrary, then again a similar, contrary, then again similar, and all the octaves got a lot of contrary motion and similar motion there, right? Okay. Now the next one is a variation that we may have tried before, but let's see how that works. It is when you change the note values for the left and the right hand, right? So the left hand plays crotchets and the right hand plays quavers, then it would probably sound like this. So how many octaves did the right hand play and how many did the left hand play? Let me ask Alanis.
The right hand played 3.
3 octaves? And the left hand played? Okay, I'm going to play it again.
Played 1 and the right hand played 2.
That's right, because this did quavers, this did crotchet, so it just doubled up while doing 2 octaves. Okay, the next variation. Pay attention, I can ask anybody. What happened? Yaman.
The right hand played three octaves,
That is right. Yes, 3 octaves.
and the left hand played 1 octave.
That is right. So basically, the right hand was playing triplets at this time. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Your left hand acts like a metronome, you know, da, da, da. But of course, it plays 1 octave there. Okay, so the next variation could be possibly now you know we played 2 notes, we played 3 notes, and if you play 4 notes, then it would go. So the right hand now has played 4 and the left hand has still played only 1 octave. This entire sequence can be switched, where your left hand can play 2 octaves, but you always have to keep that space. Then the left hand can play in triplets, left hand can play in, this was semi-quavers that it kind of played in, right? Okay, and again, you always have the articulation. You can make it legato, staccato, or swing for even these patterns, right? So, lots of variations discussed so far. Any other variation that you have known or we have learned together? Something that has not come up yet? Anybody?
A different scale?
A different scale?
scale.
Oh yeah, of course.
Yeah.
I mean, with a different scale, we can definitely do all of these things again. But I'm talking about variations. Any other variation that we've missed?
Maybe left hand is playing staccato and right hand is playing legato,
That's
or
a-
the other way around.
Yeah, that's a good one. So let's see how that goes. Where the right hand plays staccato, left hand plays legato. No. Right, and we can do it the other way around. that's a good one. That's a variation. Anybody else has new ideas what we can do? I know somebody who has done a different variation. Ethan, you've learned a different variation. Do you remember what you were playing?
I don't remember it now.
Okay, so the one that we learned together was playing in thirds. Knowing that everybody knows a C major chord and knows that these are very melodic notes, the third especially. So if we have to play this in the Of course, playing like this also is not easy, but let's put it in scale fingering pattern. Now, how do I play the scale? I can definitely have this hopping, but if I keep hopping, what happens is it is staccato. But what if I want to play legato and I want it smoother? Second. Just this. Yeah, so if I have to play it legato, this is for one hand, but if you want to do it hands together, we could still play it this way. What happens in this pattern is your hands are too close together. So initially this would be difficult. So what you can do is separate it out. So your left hand starts with C, right hand will start with E. But now if you notice, I'm not starting with finger 1 on E, I'm starting with 3 because that's the scale fingering for C. And after this, I continue playing the C major scale fingering only. So it should sound like this. How does that sound? Much better way of playing the scales, right? I can play it for 2 octaves. The beauty of the thirds is when you play it in minor, it has a complete different effect. So from C, let's just try C minor and see. But this is what I played just now was 2 octaves legato, hands together, but it was the same. Now if I start with thirds, my thirds will be C and E flat. So if I start with E flat here and a C here, right? This can make scales, playing scales, much more interesting. And if we have to go say a level up, what you can do is with the thirds, you can also play contrary motion. So how would that sound? Oh, I went ahead. So let me just try 4 octaves only. The variation split at the end and then afterwards it became similar. But still, contrary motion apart will also do. And if you have to split, or in this phase, you can also do a closed contrary motion. And probably when you're composing or improvising, you can always use this pattern, knowing that, you know, this sounds good, this sounds good, this sounds good. And let's say you're playing a chord progression which goes, or okay, I'm going to ask somebody for chord progression. Alanis, tell me a chord progression that I can use right now.
C.
E minor? In the E minor keyboard exercise, what chords does it have?
E, A, and
B. So it's E minor, fourth is A minor, dominant seventh, B seventh, and E, right? If I have to add a tune to this, and B, something simple, but I was able to add 2 notes to it because I know the thirds sound good, right? Otherwise, it would have been tricky for me to figure out which notes to add. So that is what the thirds help you with. Okay. So, any other variation that comes to your mind or something that you would like to try on your piano right now? Good. So out of the number of variations that we've learned so far, what I want you to do is take 2 minutes of your time. If you're on your piano somewhere close by, I want you to try the number of variations that we did so far. Right? Just try any of them. And if you have doubts, ask me. So we'll do this a quick 5-minute exercise. And you have to tell me which variation are you taking back from this workshop and going to practice. If you want me to show you any of the variations again, you can ask me. Okay, so the meeting is going to end now. I want you to join back and then tell me which is the new variation that you're going to take back from here.